Welcome to the 30 and Nerdy Podcast, brought to you by Advertising Expressions, Creative Theater, Akita Express, and Encore Theatrical Company. Visit us online at 30andnerdypodcast.com. Drop us an email at 30andnerdypod@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Become a patron of the show at patreon.com/30nerdypodcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. And now, sit back, relax, and get ready to nerd out with your hosts, Josh Davis and Tyler McDaniel.
What's up, nerds and nerdettes? This is the podcast where everyone knows your name.
Cheers to ya.
Cheers to ya.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Tyler, and this is 30 and Nerdy. And we are coming at you from the Fortress of Nerditude with yours truly, the registered nerd practitioner, the founder of Nerdledge, the Mac. And as always, amazing to be joined by my co-host, the juicy one, the nerdtorious JLD, the PhD of Nerdology, Dr. Davis himself.
Is that right?
That's right. For those of you listening, thank you. Thank you for all the shares, the reviews, the subscriptions, the comments, the suggestions. And if you're tuning in for the first time, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, now on Spotify, and wherever you find podcasts.
Spotify too?
Right.
Everywhere. I didn't know. We're
Absolutely.
moving on up.
And if you are a Patreon supporter, thank you. You're awesome. Please be looking out for some exclusive stuff that only our Patreon supporters will be getting. Ooh. We just sent out a sneak peek of September's lineup to our Patreon supporters, and that was just one tier. We have 3 tiers of opportunities. Please check out our Patreon, and we will hope to see you on there and get you some exclusive behind-the-scenes
some goodies.
Nerdledge going on. So last week's episode was weird. It was just me because I had a poor, sick little JD. It was Wrestling with Nerdrum, and we talked about SummerSlam 2019. I got to sit down with White Lightning. If you missed that, it's in the archives on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Or wherever you listen to podcasts, it's last week's episode. It wasn't that long ago. Speaking of subscribing to the YouTube, we got a contest going on for all YouTube subscribers. If you subscribe, you are entered in a chance to win a package, a dinner and show package. It is 2 free tickets to Encore Theatrical's Madagascar and dinner at Akita, a $10 off gift card to Akita Express right here in Morristown, Tennessee, thanks to our lovely sponsors. Josh, you can't win. So, sorry. You got all wide-eyed and excited.
Yeah.
And we can't win.
The Madagascar, it's the junior show, right?
Yes, it's a junior show.
So it's the Encore Young Stars.
Yes, the Young Stars.
You know, don't let that dissuade you just because, like, they're kids. The only difference in one of these shows and a regular Encore show or, you know, any adult cast show is that they're kids. Like, they are just as talented.
Maybe more.
Sometimes more so
than people I've been on stage with.
They're very, very good.
It's ridiculous.
Okay,
and
you got to see them.
Plus, Madagascar, such a funny movie, energetic.
Yeah. I like to move it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you for all those subscriptions. We have got quite a few people who have entered. Keep it going. It goes till the end of this month, and we will announce the first week of September. JD. I feel like it's been forever since we're in the Fortress, just the two of us.
Yeah.
We got, our waters in front of us. We've got Yoda and the Joker and our coasters and our nerd books. Mm-hmm. And we're surrounded by the pops. I mean, it feels like forever since we've done it the right way.
Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it?
You were under the weather last week.
I was dying, I think.
That's not good.
I mean, I was I'm still not 100%, dude. I'm struggling. But, you know, I'm a lot better than I was. And we might have to stop here and there for me to have a little coughing fit. But, you know, it's okay. I didn't want to, you know, be all sneezy and gross on the show. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I had to sit out on the wrestling one, which was a shame because, you know, I love wrestling. And
we'll do another wrestling one.
Yeah, soon. Maybe around WrestleMania time.
Yeah, we can just talk wrestling because I was excited too. But if you were to get me or White Lightning sick, I would have been upset.
Yeah, and he's kind of scary. So
he is kind of scary. But he did say, if you see him in public, you're free to lock up with him.
Oh, yes.
Oh, go right ahead.
Yeah.
But also, and before that, we did the sit down with the Bowlings.
Oh, man.
Which was awesome.
I think I've said this a few times about a few different things, but like this time for sure, my favorite episode.
Absolutely my favorite episode.
Absolute favorite.
Not just the fortitude that sometimes you can get in being a nerd, but just the fortitude of Peyton and the Bowlings as a family in general is amazing.
Peyton is definitely an inspiration.
Absolutely.
To a lot of people. So it was a lot of fun to just sit and just chat. We were far less structured with that discussion than what we normally are. You know, we just said, hey, let's just talk about whatever you want, and that's what we did. And you know,
it was fun.
It was a blast. I had so much fun.
Like I got educated. Like he knows the C and D list characters of Star Wars
and E and F.
And I mean, he showed us one action figure. I was like, when are they in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Cantina.
Cantina.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, it kind of, just goes past him, the camera pat. You have that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay.
And those are the ones that are worth the most
I know.
sometimes. It's crazy.
You know, but speaking of that, we are partnered up with Donate Life Tennessee to raise awareness and money for organ donation. Yeah. We are going to be releasing a follow-up Friday based off of just that partnership. And if you go to our Facebook, pinned to the top is all the information about our partnership and how you can help us raise awareness and donate to this amazing cause. So be looking at that. And at the end of this show, we have a special sponsor for the rest of the season, and that is MarbleCity ComiCon.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to sit down with Shannon Rhea, who is like the head honcho of Marble City.
Yeah.
And got the lowdown on some, a couple of guests, why they moved to Sevierville. This might be the permanent home for a while. And just talked a little bit to him. And he's going to be joining us every once in a while leading up to the event.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil it for him. But he did let me in on a little inside information.
I heard about it too.
Next month is when he's going to announce that.
Yeah.
So you'll have to tune in next month when we sit down with Shannon.
Kind of
but he does have
deal.
some amazing wrestling names coming.
Yeah.
Like Nikita Koloff and James Storm and Hornswoggle and stuff like that. So we're very excited.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to today. What are we talking about, JD?
Talking about theater and the theater nerds,
which we are.
We are. Yeah, we definitely are. So maybe talk about some different shows we've done and maybe what theater has sort of meant to our lives and maybe tell a couple stories.
Yeah.
A couple fun stories. We have a lot of those.
We could do a whole month's worth of our stories. So
man.
Just going to talk about the favorites.
Yeah.
But we will get to all that after a word from our sponsors.
Speaking of theater, I wanted to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Encore Theatrical Company. The arts are a vital part of the educational process, which is another key to economic development and improved quality of life. Arts education and opportunities help participants develop skills in critical thinking, goal setting, team building, problem solving, conflict resolution, and craftsmanship. At Encore Theatrical Company, they aren't just dreaming it, they're doing it. Encore Theatrical Company is a volunteer-based regional community theater that uses the power of the arts in live performances, education, and various creative outlets to cultivate and enhance the quality of life in the Lakeway community and the East Tennessee region. There's always something going on at Encore, from plays, musicals, camps, classes, community outreach, and most of all, fun. Come see what it's all about here in Morristown, Tennessee, where it's not just theater, it's Encore. Listen, nerds, if you are from Morristown or the surrounding area, you already know about the goodness that is Akita Express. For years now, if we've been playing video games, watching wrestling, binging a TV show, watching our favorite movies, or working on a show, you gotta know, we go to Akita to refuel on some of that nerd energy. Akita Express is a family-owned restaurant where they treat you like family and feed you till you're full. Full service portions and quality at a fast pace. And I recommend the shrimp and chicken combo myself. They honestly believe in providing the best customer service and fast food for a reasonable price. Fresh hibachi grilled food in a matter of minutes. If you haven't tried it, I'm sure they will be able to fix something you will enjoy. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend. Give Akita Express a try. They're at 3100 East Morris Boulevard, right here in Morristown, Tennessee. And when you stop by, let them know that 30 and Nerdy sent you.
All right, nerds. I'm going to talk nerdy to you. Now, this is the theater edition of Talk Nerdy. So, kind of like last week, it's not one word with nerds. It is some definitions, some terms in the theater world that we as thespians may know, but the general audience, they might not.
The theater lingo.
Theater lingo, if you will. So, the first one is called 10 out of 12. Some days during Tech Week, some of those days will be designated a 12-hour workday. 10 of those hours will be spent working, with 2 hours allotted for meals and, of course, breaks, like take 10. Thank you, 10. That's also a little sub-word. You say thank you to everything the director says to you. So, like, take a lunch. Thank you, lunch. You know, take 5. Thank you, 5.
Yeah.
It's just a professional courtesy, if you will. So 10 out of 12. 10 of the hours will be spent working. However, you have 12 hours that day. We've had a couple of days close to that in our theater life.
Yeah, if I've been the boss of the show, like, the director, my day was longer than that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to those stories.
Oh, boy.
The second definition is Sitzprobe. Now, Sitzprobe, which we've been through a lot of those, is a German word that describes the first time the performers sit and run through the full score with the orchestra. Time is taken to incorporate the two elements until the music director is satisfied.
It's always a very exciting day.
It is. Because that's when you kind of start to see, okay, this thing's coming together.
Yeah, and especially like if it's like a rock show, like, we did Rock of Ages a few years ago, and you get, the guitars and the drums and
that was
rock music.
A fun Sitzprobe.
That's a fun
That
Sitzprobe.
was a fun day. Because mics were all lined up, and each person would walk up when it was their turn to sing. That was fun.
We got to, play rock and roll for the day and like sing Journey and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. It was a fun show.
Sure, yeah.
Your third term is ghost light. Now, this is more of like a vintage superstition, a vintage thought. You don't see it a lot in modern theaters today. A ghost light, before the entire theater is closed for the evening, all lights except for one single exposed incandescent bulb are left on stage. For practical purposes, to allow the first person in the next day to see what they're doing. For superstition purposes, it is to give the ghosts who inhabit the theater some light to perform by.
Ooh.
No, last September, October, I took a tour of the Bijou with Madison, and they have a ghost light there that stays on. And they told stories about this place is, it was a ghost tour of the Bijou. And it was really cool.
I don't know if I told you this when you did that, but years ago when I was in like the 7th or 8th grade, I got to go see a play there. It was an original play called The Ghosts of the Bijou. And
really?
They told the stories of, the legends of the ghosts that inhabit the Bijou Theater. Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't remember much about it, but yeah.
Yeah,
it was
that's
pretty
awesome,
creepy.
man. And that's the Bijou in Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. If you are in the area, or if you're taking a trip this way, definitely check out the Bijou. Even if there's a show, it's beautiful.
I saw Kevin Smith there a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
The legend.
Yeah. I sneezed and he said, "Bless you," right in the middle of the show. It was glorious.
Silent Bob said bless you.
He did.
The fourth term is break a leg, which we'll get into the superstitions behind break a leg. To break a leg is an archaic slang for bowing or curtsying. Placing one foot behind the other and bending of the knee breaks the line of the leg. In theater, pleased audiences may applaud for extended time, allowing the cast to take multiple curtain calls, bowing to the audience.
Yeah.
So when someone's wishing you break a leg, it's may you bow multiple times due to a good show.
Yeah.
Basically. There was also a more Shakespearean definition. For those of you who have studied Shakespeare, back in the day, if a show was so good, they would throw money. Mm-hmm. And you would break your leg to pick it up.
Reach down and pick it up.
Some people believe that's where break a leg started. Some people believe it's this. It's more of a Greek terminology.
I think I've even heard a couple other ones too.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on, what dictionary gives you the definition.
Yeah.
There's Greek, there's Shakespearean, there's, French. There's so many people who think break a leg means certain things. But that's the one I'm going with. Now the next one, since we are not in a theater, I'm allowed to say.
Oh, yeah.
Macbeth.
Oh.
You never say the title of this Shakespearean play in the theater unless you're performing that specific show.
Right.
It is believed to be cursed. If you do say it, you must leave the theater, spin around 3 times to your left, spit, curse, and then knock to be admitted back in the theater.
I've seen it happen.
I have as well. I have a story later about the one time I was the idiot who did not believe in the curse, and it went wrong.
Do you know where the legend of the curse comes from?
I do know where the legend comes from. I do know that there's belief that those witches are actually saying an incantation, an actual cursed incantation.
So the one I heard was that Shakespeare based the 3 witches in Macbeth on like real life people, and they wanted some compensation for their likeness being used in the play, and I guess he didn't do it, and supposedly they put a curse on it for that. Now, that's the version I heard. I don't who knows.
I do know that it is strongly believed and apparently proven by some that the incantations they're saying are real Wiccan incantations. And I'm not going to quote them here. If you want to look them up, go right ahead. But I'm not saying them on this podcast. We don't need a pod curse. So that is, and we're going to talk more about the Scottish play later because I do have a story.
Good.
So those are your 5 definitions: 10 out of 12, Sitzprobe, Ghost Light, Break a Leg, and Macbeth. And that leads us to Josh's favorite segment, and it feels good getting to do this because we really haven't done this much. And I'm just talking because he's like on the edge of his seat here, and it's killing him. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. And what you watching, JD? What are you watching? Did I see you shivering with anticipation?
Say it. Yes, you did.
What are you watching?
This was gonna be my one from last week before I caught the plague, because it was very fitting. But Glow Season 3 came out.
I haven't seen Season 3.
I have only seen a little bit. Really good so far. The ladies take the show to Las Vegas, and the first episode, that's the very first scene. Alison Brie's character, she plays like the heel. She's like a Russian, Zoya, the Destroyer.
Yeah.
And she's sitting with, I forget the character's name, but she's like, Miss America, girl next door, whatever. And they're doing like a little sit-down interview, and it's it's the same time that the Challenger's about to take off.
Oh, no.
And so Zoya's like, oh, this puny American rocket, oh, it's, pathetic. And she's sitting there, doing her gimmick and dogging America and dogging NASA. And then the Challenger, explodes.
Oh,
so it's like, and they're supposed to open their show that night. What do they do and all that stuff? So it's great.
Now, for the average non-watcher of this, explain Glow.
Oh yeah, sorry. So Glow stands for the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, which was a real thing in the 1980s. It was a show about these ladies. They did a wrestling show. They all had different characters, and they would sing songs and stuff. It was very 80s. Very 80s. And this show was based off of it. Not the same characters, the same people. It's totally, fictionalized version of it. But it's a pretty good show. So this is the 3rd season. I do intend to watch more because I do enjoy that show.
Oh, yeah, it's a good show.
And also, if you haven't seen The Boys, watch The Boys. The Boys is incredible. It's so good. It's one of my new favorite things.
Which we may talk about soon.
I think we should.
We definitely will.
But keep in mind,
I have to get on that.
Parental discretion is very, very advised. But it's a great show.
So, I am, I have work.
Yeah.
And I work on this podcast quite a bit, the marketing aspects. Yeah. I'm doing 2 shows at once. I've barely had time to watch the back of my eyelids.
Yeah.
I'm maybe clocking 3.5, 4 hours of sleep every night. I'm just tired, but I have not watched anything. However, I have found a new podcast that I enjoy. It's called Impractical Jokers, the official podcast. And what this is it's some of the producers and some of the behind-the-scenes people get together after every new episode. So every Thursday, the show airs. Every Friday, the podcast airs. And it is hosted mainly by Casey Jost, who is a producer of the show. Do you know any other Josts who may work in comedy?
Colin Jost?
They are brothers.
Oh.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Casey Jost, who works on Impractical Jokers since day one, is Colin Jost's brother.
Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live.
Yes, from Saturday Night Live. It's great because they'll break down like each segment they have to do. They break down, how the punishment happened. They'll break down like how some things happen behind the scenes. Like I learned that they have a different term for mark in the comedy and the, I guess, hidden camera show world. Marks for them are unknowledgeable people to their show.
In other words, a victim.
A victim, basically. They call marks what their victims are.
Right.
So if you haven't listened to it, check out Impractical Jokers, the official podcast. But hopefully, by next week, I will have watched something new that I can talk about. So that brings us into the news. We got a little bit here this week. A lot happened in the past week or so in the world of nerd. And I do not know their names. Have
Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly?
John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, they are the main writers for Spider-Man Homecoming. They are getting to write and direct a live-action Dungeons and Dragons movie.
And it'll surely be better than the first one they did years and years ago.
Oh, you remember that?
Vaguely.
I still have the DVD.
Wow.
It had one of the Wayans brothers was in it, and I'm gonna have to grab it, but I do have the DVD.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to bring it and read the cast list. I do have that DVD still.
Did you know John Francis Daly was Sam Weir on Freaks and Geeks in the 90s?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was...
Freaks and Geeks launched that whole Rogan crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jason
that
and,
show
and
was
Martin Starr
really,
and all them.
Cut short. Only had one season.
Too short.
Way
it was a funny show.
I remember when it...
We could talk about it in an episode someday, maybe.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we will. Yeah. Maybe we will, because they were Freaks and Geeks, which nerd is in there.
It fits in there somewhere.
So that'll be cool. I think it'll be, especially knowing what they did with Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do some amazing things, and that actually might bring us into talking about Dungeons and Dragons one day. Stranger things have happened.
I guess so.
You see what I did there? D&D, Stranger Things?
I got it. Very good.
You've missed me.
You clever.
So this is not some news, but it is some rumors. It is rumor enough to get us kind of excited.
Mm-hmm.
It is strongly rumored that Ewan McGregor will return as Obi-Wan Kenobi in an original Disney Plus Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably definitely going to happen because they wouldn't allow this news to get out, and so many people reported on it. But
they would eventually kill it.
I feel like
it's
I don't want to speak too soon, but it seems like it's probably going to happen.
Well, you as a wars fanatic, you don't want to get your hopes up.
Yeah,
because we could see some amazing stuff between 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
like when he's supposed to train with the ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
That would be cool to see Liam Neeson for one or two scenes.
They were going to do an Obi-Wan standalone movie, but I think that got scrapped because Solo didn't do as well as they hoped.
That's Solo. You know? I mean, you bring in an Obi-Wan with Ewan McGregor Solo movie, I guarantee you that would do way better than a... And I love Han Solo as a character.
Yeah, I feel like Han Solo is probably more popular than Obi-Wan.
I don't know, man.
I guess it's because...
I just think you throw in lightsabers and Jedi,
maybe so.
People are there.
You know, I guess the difference is that the guy that played Solo is like a brand new, new to the franchise. Ewan McGregor. He's a
Ewan
vet.
McGregor draws.
Yeah.
So that's just rumored as of right now. So take that with a grain of salt, especially you Supernatural fans. So hopefully more will come out soon. Maybe it'll become a real thing within the next couple of weeks or whatever.
Hope so.
Especially the closer we get to Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, D&D, as they're nicknamed, who ran the Game of Thrones series, they got a 9-figure deal to come to Netflix and exclusively make shows for Netflix alone. Now, think about this, people. 9 figures. That's a ridiculous amount of money that a huge percentage of the country will not see in a lifetime.
Yeah.
9 figures. So what's 6 figures? Mr. Davis.
6 figures.
Yes, I know you're English.
In the hundreds, 100,000 area.
Yes. So then you go 7, 8, 9-figure deal. Not including what their shows may make or the budget of their show. That doesn't include the budget of their show. So they're getting
this is
paid.
Like their salary?
That's their salary.
Good
to just
night in
say,
the morning.
We're going to put an office in the Netflix studios, and that's our place, and we're exclusively going to do Netflix shows now.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I know, season 8 of Game of Thrones was,
I got 2 more episodes. I did just finish, me and Mom just finished the episode that ended with poor little Masande's decapitation, which broke my heart.
Yeah, things start to get real after that.
I was like, no, one of the cool, just down-to-earth, most amazing, subtle characters.
Yeah, bless
But
your heart.
you did have to create another bad guy.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah, it was, people didn't really respond well to season 8, but their track record before that, it's...
Yeah.
This is a good move,
I think. I think that Netflix is doing this stuff, which we will discuss down the line with Stream Wars 2, is Netflix is going to have to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need Netflix originals to keep them alive with what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that is foreshadowing for a November episode, and we'll get there. So, D&D, I know I call them D&D. Do you have their real names?
They call it D&D because their names are David and David.
Yeah, David and David. I won't worry about their last names. We will worry about their last names if they save Netflix. But moving on. The writers of Far From Home, however, another Spider-Man movie, have been given a 9-figure deal to join Sony in making a series of live-action TV shows set in the Spider-Verse.
Goodness gracious! How do I get hooked up with one of these 9-figure deals?
I mean, we need a show.
I'm an okay writer.
I mean, we're pretty creative people.
Yeah.
Born and raised creative, raised in the theater, nerdy. If everyone's getting 9-figure deals, I'd take a 5-figure deal at this point. So,
I would too.
I mean, but Far From Home was fantastic.
Oh, for sure.
So both lead writers of both of the most phenomenal Spider-Man films we've seen in the last decade are getting huge deals to create more universes.
Yeah,
good for them.
I mean, I'm there for it.
And especially knowing this could open up Black Cat. Maybe since it's in the Spider-Verse, we can start seeing some of the Defenders come over to Sony since, they're partnered with the MCU, technically. But that's pretty exciting. Sadly, I know I'm moving on to DC from this Marvel, and I wish I was moving on to good DC news.
It rarely is, it seems.
It's very rare that I move from Marvel to DC news, and it's positive.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi has canceled Krypton and have decided not to move forward with a Lobo spin-off series.
I think that would have done well, the Lobo thing. But I got
Deadpool has Marvel has Deadpool. Lobo's like the opportunity to be the Deadpool of DC. He could break the fourth wall. He could be the cursing character. You don't know where he stands. Because, in the old animated series, I cannot remember who he was voiced by, but he was always the main man, baby, Lobo. He's a fun character. And Krypton, I finished season 1. It's good. It's not bad for an origin series. I actually heard that
it was pretty good, but I gotta say that, even though I'm not a DC guy anyway, but a show about Superman's grandpa doesn't really sound very interesting.
Oh, no. When it was first starting to get marketed, I was like, I don't care.
Why do we need this?
The only reason I'm watching it is because I need something DC to watch.
Yeah.
And you're what's left.
Yeah.
So, sad for them, but maybe it will open up some airspace for some better DC material. Speaking of DC, Jason Momoa has halted production of Aquaman 2 and other movies that he's filming to protest against the government, the American government, in defense of conservation. What the government is wanting to do is there is all this national park land in Maui, somewhere out in Hawaii, that they're wanting to basically do away with and bring it into the industry world. And he, along with tons of Hawaiians and Samoans, are outraged, and he said, fine, I won't do it anymore. I'm going to completely devote my time to protesting this. I have a platform to use. People want me to do this stuff. I'm not doing it until more people get behind my cause. You know what?
You go,
Absolutely.
Jason Momoa. You
go.
Like,
we've talked about this a few times. Like, he's a cool guy.
Fight the power.
And he just, before he was Khal Drogo, do you know who Jason Momoa was?
No, I don't think
anybody did. And now he's a household name.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm behind you.
Resist.
I will put off Aquaman 2 if it means saving, conserving our Earth.
It'll be tough, but
and
we'll
our
do it.
Natural resources. Especially since Aquaman's some of the best DC stuff we've had in a decade.
For sure.
So, and moving on, as we were recording, got breaking news. Breaking nerd news. It appears by Vanity Fair just released a massive article about how there will be a 4th Matrix movie.
Yeah.
And that is with the Trinity and Neo returning. The original Trinity and Neo returning. So, I know a couple of weeks ago we talked about Michael B. Jordan starting his own Matrix franchise. What does this mean? This is exciting stuff. And you just cannot stop Keanu Reeves this day and age.
It's smart to cash in on the second coming of Keanu Reeves.
That's good. The second coming of Keanu.
That's really what it's like.
It really is.
All of a sudden, Keanu Reeves is this huge
we're getting a Bill and Ted 3. John Wick is huge. Matrix 4 is coming. He's joining the MCU. And now, DC's freaking out, what could we put him in?
Oh, and he's doing that video game, that Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk?
Something
2079 or something like that?
Number,
something like that.
Yeah.
But that is exciting. And that is your nerd news.
And now that we've talked about what we're watching, now that we've done our nerd vocabulary, and now that we have talked about the news, I think it's time that we... On the theater.
The theater.
Theater.
So... We're not just talking about the theater, we're talking about the people who inhabit the theater. Theater nerds,
right,
if you will. And I've come up with somewhat of my own definition. So a theater nerd is an actor or actress who tends to act in plays, musicals, on the live stage. Now, what dictates a theater nerd, as opposed to a regular everyday thespian, is the fact that they can't go one day without quoting a musical or a play. They hear one cue word out of nowhere and they can break into a monologue from a play or a song from a musical. They're typically very good at memorizing and recollection of things, And they are known to be very odd in some ways and very hyperactive at times.
Yeah, I can see it.
We have not just been that in our younger years.
Yeah.
We know. We've directed the theater nerds.
Yeah.
And we find ourselves, when we direct those, like, were we ever this hyperactive about a show or a quote or a song? Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I think so.
So that is your definition of theater nerd. And I'm sure while you're listening, if you're not a theater nerd, you just sat there and said, I know one.
Yeah.
That's that girl who walks down the hallway singing Hamilton.
Yeah.
Or Wicked. Or Phantom of the Opera all the time. That's that girl who I can't say anything to without, did you hear about the new, and I'm sitting there like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
So.
Some people just don't get it.
They just don't get it. They're not in the theater crowd. They're the normies, if you will.
Yeah.
To be
Normies.
normal. Ugh. So, that's your definition. And I thought we would move on. We're both theater nerds.
Sure.
We've grown up in the theater. We've done countless amounts of shows. We each probably have superstitions.
Yes.
And we know theater nerds who have superstitions. And that's part of the weirdness that comes with us theater nerds is you won't do what? Like, come on, just do this. No, I can't before a show. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing. So, a couple of superstitions that are, the permanent superstitions for every theater nerd. The top three are definitely good luck equals bad luck. Don't wish a theater person, whether it be in a play or in a musical, if you know someone who's going to be in a show, don't wish them good luck.
Yeah.
It's bad luck to say good luck.
On opening night.
Exactly.
Or any night, really.
Or
but
any
especially opening night.
Definitely don't do it during opening night. And we talked about this earlier, but Macbeth.
Yeah.
You never say Macbeth in a theater. It is the cursed Scottish play from Shakespeare himself. It brings bad juju, if you will.
Yeah.
And, of course, and we have learned this, bad dress rehearsal means good opening night.
Almost always.
Almost always.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's other superstitions like the second show slump. I have to have a certain costume, or a certain undershirt or something, which is one of mine. So, those are three of the big ones you hear a lot of theater nerds freak out about. It's like, don't wish me good luck, you have to say break a leg.
Yeah.
Or, you cannot say the M word, don't say the M word.
Right.
We actually did a show when I was doing shows with the Morristown Theater Guild. It's called The Cast List. And it was a backstage musical. There's a lot of those out there. There's not a musical, a backstage play.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those out there, like Noises Off and stuff like that. So
a play about a play.
A play about a play, yes. And it kind of lets you into the world of theater nerd, like what we're like backstage. Every character in that play, it's not a strong script.
Right.
But you watch that show and you're like, oh man, I've been in a show with that kind of person.
Yes.
Or I've been that kind of person before. And so in the play, a friend of ours, Todd Helm, had to say Macbeth. And just like the rules, after he would say it, we would make him go outside and do the 3 spins to the left, spit, cuss, and knock to be let back in.
Yeah.
We made him do that because we weren't just performing their script. We were like, we don't want that kind of bad. Don't put that evil on us, script writer. So we had to do it. But and that's just one little fun story. So we both have personal superstitions.
I have a couple little...
What are yours?
Things. So I have to always listen to The Red by Chevelle before
I like it.
Any show that I do. I listen to it in the car on the way. And it's only for performances. I don't do it for like rehearsals or anything like that. But it that song gets me pumped up. If you haven't heard that song, you should check it out. I love that song. I've loved that song for years. So listen to The Red, and a lot of times I'll also go out, before the house opens, before the people can come in to take their seats. I'll walk out onto the stage, maybe walk around on the set. I'll put my headphones in, and I'll listen to The Red again. And I'll just sort of, walk around and kind of get comfortable on the stage and think about, all the things I need to do and just kind of get myself ready and psyched up. That's really all that I have, I think.
Yeah. I have three main ones. I do walk out on stage with my headphones in. I have a full playlist that are just specific songs that I call my Headspace.
Mm-hmm.
I call it Headspace. And I only, even though it's like a motivational headspace, it's not like affirmations. It's not, you can do this. It's red. The Red is on there by Chevelle. You've got Korn on there.
Coming Undone.
Coming Undone,
yeah.
Yes. My songs Know What You Do in the Dark by Fall Out
That's
Boy.
a good one.
Even Randy Orton's entrance song, Voices,
Yeah.
from the WWE. It's not happy music, but it gets me in that zone. And so I'll walk out there, and I don't walk around the set like you do. I will center stage, lay on my back, and just look up for probably 2 or 3 songs with my eyes closed. Just, I have to do that before every show.
Some people are thinking that this probably sounds really silly, but
But
you
would it be silly if a certain athlete didn't wash their socks before a game?
You know what? That's a good point.
Exactly.
Because it's just a play. It's
just a football game.
It's harder than you think to.
It really is. We've talked about this a couple times.
Yeah.
It could be a dangerous place.
And there's the nerves leading up to getting in front of a bunch of people and doing whatever you're doing. It's.
I just realized, and it finally came to my the forefront of my mind. Last weekend, my uncle passed away.
Yeah.
And my dad asked me to learn and sing a song on guitar and sing it at the funeral.
Yeah.
15 people there, all family.
Sometimes that's the hardest audience.
That's the hardest thing. And I even told him, I said, so a lot of you know me as a theater kid. It's a lot easier in front of hundreds of people than it is this.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like this. Intimate settings, I don't like that very much. For instance, if we were doing this podcast in front of a small crowd, like 2 or 3 people, as opposed to just me and you, or in front of a big crowd, I'd be more awkward. I'd be like, so there are a few people watching us, and I don't like that. But if there were hundreds of people, I'd be like, what's up, everybody?
Yeah.
So I learned an Elvis song, and I transitioned it into Beulah Land for him, and I did it, but I was like, weird.
Yeah.
This is not a big audience. So one of mine is listening to my specific playlist, laying in the center of stage, looking up at the lights, and then closing my eyes and just meditating. The other one, the same person every show has to mic me up. They have to.
I've never been that way.
Your sister-in-law experienced this during Mamma Mia. Like, I somewhat freaked out a little bit when Kim Willaniscus was not there to mic me up at one point, and Beth Ann was like, I'll do it, and I'm like, nope, it's a thing. It's a thing. I can't. I'm
You don't
sorry.
understand.
You don't understand. So that's my second one. And my third one is I have to have my lucky black undershirt. It's a tank
that
top.
old thing.
That
Yeah,
old thing.
yeah.
Every show I'm in, that is my lucky undershirt. It's ripped, it's tattered, it's torn, but the audience doesn't see it.
Yeah.
That has been a superstition since probably our Wizard of Oz, where you were Tin Man, I was Cowardly Lion.
So that's like 2010.
2010,
I think?
that started.
Wow.
And that was, 9 years ago.
Now that I think about it, I've seen that thing a lot.
It's been washed. I'm not, I wash it at least, but I have to have that as an undershirt in every show I'm in, or I feel like, well, we're gonna have to pause the show. I'm gonna go home and get it and find it. I will be late to call time if I can't find it. So those are my 3 big ones. But you might think we're weird. But if you're not a theater person, you have a superstition at whatever you do. You just don't know you do.
Yeah.
Like I've been friends with football kids and baseball. I played baseball like crazy growing up. And I really tried almost every sport you could in this town. They have crazy superstitions too. Like, even fans have superstitions. Like, I will not wash my Peyton Manning jersey before the season starts.
Right.
Because it will bring bad juju on my team.
Same type of thing.
But we're weird. We're the weird ones.
Yeah.
So those are just some of our superstitions. we may have some other subtle ones that we may not even know about.
It could be.
But yeah, so if you're ever in a show with us or share the stage, you'll see us doing those things.
Yeah.
And just know, they're in their zone.
Yeah.
They're gearing up. They're
Every
like a
time.
wrestler before they come through the curtain. It's basically what we are. You know, we're hopping around. We're, we even, during Wizard of Oz, this last time we did it, when I was the Scarecrow, you were the Cowardly Lion, Stephen was the Tin Man, Dorothy was Mackenzie Emmert. The four of us had a thing that we had to do before every show.
Did we?
You don't remember
No.
us standing in the circle?
Oh,
the pinky finger of power.
Yes.
We would put the pinkies all in, all four of us, and get that energy up.
I'll tell you
just,
one that I bet that you didn't know about. Because this was a show that you hated. We did a play called The Picture of Dorian Gray years ago.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Tyler had like 2 lines, bless his heart. It was a long play. And I was, what was his name? Lord Henry, whatever.
Wadsworth?
Something.
Longfellow.
It was I said a bunch of stuff that I didn't really know
Your
what it
hair
meant.
was red.
And I looked like Colonel Sanders or something, but with red hair, like the way I had my goatee and stuff. It was whatever. So our friend Mike, he and I started the show. I can't believe I'm talking about this. We would like huddle up together. We'd kind of hug, and we would have to pass gas before every show. We would stand right behind the curtain. We'd about to get ready to get in our little spots,
and you'd force it.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say force it. It just kind of was convenient that it had to happen at that time.
Well, the thing about it was probably easy too, because you've probably had Akita Express before. Shameless plug. Before the show.
That's actually true. We did eat a lot of Akita at the theater. So I just talking about tradition and all that stuff. Yeah, I'd totally forgotten about it. We'd give each other a little hug and every single time. Oh wow.
So
anyway,
enough of superstitions. We've been in this world for as long as my first show. I was a preschooler. Mm-hmm. The first time I touched a stage, and I just fell in love. Yeah, at that age, and we probably have our list of Broadway's best and worst. So I thought that we would maybe talk about some of our favorites,
okay,
and some of our least favorites.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So let's go with Broadway's our favorite show, Josh.
I think I'm gonna have to say Sweeney Todd.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I like the dark, dramatic stuff like that.
Well, you also got to play Sweeney Todd.
That was my number one dream role, and I really never thought that I would have the chance to do it.
You conquered it at an early age,
and
too.
I got to do it. Yeah, I was
How old were we?
23 or so.
A 23-year-old is normally not playing Sweeney Todd.
No, I think we were a little older than that. It was definitely like 6 years ago, though. So
I was living in Pigeon Forge because we came
24.
all the way from Pigeon Forge to see you in the show.
Yeah.
So
a lot of fun, a lot of pressure. I was a nervous wreck. I remember like during the dress rehearsal week, I would come home and I was just so nervous, and I would like sit and watch The Hobbit to calm down. Yeah, it's like
typical nerd.
Hobbits just make me happy. It makes me feel calm.
Typical nerd.
I wish I was in the Shire. So.
I'd have to say, I've bounced back and forth with this, but message-wise and just song-wise, Rent. I know that you've played Roger.
I did that one too.
You're like, oh God, I could go the rest of my life without hearing
Rent
Seasons
is
of Love.
Rent is a beautiful story. And it's a great story. And I do like Rent. I gotta say it, I do.
Well, when what a lot of people don't realize is when you're doing these shows, when you're on stage, it's 2 to 3 months of your life.
I think
nearly every day.
The reason that I have such a aversion to it is that I was so stressed out. I mean, I was stressed out with Sweeney Todd too, but I think that the Rent that I did, that was the most stressed I've ever been before or during a show ever. And we've done a lot of shows. But that was not really a role that I'm suited for. I had to just do my best. I had to work really, 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 really hard.
I loved practicing with you in the car.
And, I practiced all the time.
Yeah, you did.
All the time. And I'm really bad about psyching myself out on things. Mm-hmm. But,
you did it.
I was so stressed
out. You did it well.
So I'll never do it again. Ever. Never, ever again. But,
and it's one of my bucket list shows. Like, I'm dying to do that show.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to.
I hope so, too. Least favorite Broadway show?
Me first?
You first.
Unpopular opinion, I think. Chicago.
Really?
I just don't.
I'm not a massive fan.
I don't care for it much.
Yeah. Nah.
I like Mr. Cellophane, and that's about it.
I saw the movie once.
Yeah. It was,
It's really seriously a... You like it or you don't.
Yeah.
Mine, and I'm going to try not to go on a massive rant
Oh, boy.
about this show. Heathers. I absolutely hate that show like Captain Hook hates Peter Pan.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
That's serious.
the fact that it is a massive, popular show with a certain generation of young adults and teenagers. Well, let's just it romanticizes suicide. It romanticizes bullying. The songs are terribly written. You don't have to be a talented person to be in this show because the characters are poorly written.
Boy.
It's just, it belongs as a movie with Winona Ryder in the 80s. Keep it there because it's terrible as a musical. And if you're listening to this podcast and you've been in it,
We know some people who've done
which
it.
we do, I went to support them and walked away going, well, I've done my friend deed for the year because I hate this show. I apologize.
Dang.
We're not supposed to like the same things all the time, but
Good point.
you like a garbage show. I'm just saying.
Ouch.
So let's, without taking up the next 3 hours of your life, me going off about that show, let's move on. Most overrated show from Broadway.
I had to really think hard about if I wanted this to be least favorite or most overrated, and I had to switch them around a couple times. But I think my most overrated is The King and I.
Right.
And I did that one too.
You did do that one.
I did that one too.
I mean, that's not mine, but I completely agree.
This is
Yeah.
not for me.
It's really not.
It's a classic or whatever, and I get
Yeah.
that. I actually like a lot of the old classic ones. Like, I really like Oklahoma, and most people don't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's boring. It's too long.
I would agree.
I don't really care for most of the
Well,
music
and
or any of the music.
the production you had to do with was probably extended.
I did it in college at Tusculum.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Not Walker State.
No, I was the Kralahum. It's the king's like prime minister
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All I really remember is that we had a lot of makeup on to make us dark, and I was barefoot and shirtless.
Which you love.
All
Three of those things.
Great.
It's lots of makeup, shirtless, and barefoot.
Yeah. Wasn't happy about it. But.
My most overrated, and I know this is a very unpopular opinion, Sound of Music.
Yeah, I disagree with that one.
It is so, it's just...
It's a real life story, man. Von
Okay.
Trapp's.
I understand that, and Andrews was great, and when you did it, you were great, and Laura Ritter was great,
Yeah.
but I just don't like it. It's a droll, and
It's pretty long too.
it's
Let's
a
be
long
honest. Yeah.
show, and I just it's overrated. Everyone's like the Sound of Music.
I wouldn't do that one again either.
Yeah. So most underrated.
I think this one will surprise you a little bit.
Okay.
The Wedding Singer.
I would agree.
That's
very
actually
underrated.
a really good show.
It really is.
And we had big plans a few years ago. We were going to try to convince one of the local theater groups to try to put it on. It never went anywhere. But I think it's a fun show. I'd like to do that one one day.
It'd be fun. The 80s music, the Adam Sandler story, from the movie, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Mine, I could not... I've been in both of these shows. I would have. It's kind of a tie. It's between Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and Shenandoah.
Shenandoah is a really good show.
It was so fun
Yeah.
to do that show, and it's Civil War based, and it's got great music and writing.
I remember loving the movie too.
Yeah,
years
the
ago.
movie was great. The set opportunities are fun and intricate and interesting. And Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, it's a great opportunity for big cast. Especially if you have 7 good guys and 7 good girls. And it's just, you don't see a lot of musicals popular these days at that time period. Anything under the 50s. It's very hard to find popular musicals these days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those two, along with like Fiddler on the Roof, go forgotten these days, especially with like a Heathers or I had to grit my teeth just to say that word, or a Shrek or a Wicked, or a Hamilton. A lot of the modern musicals kind of blind us from the musicals that brought us to this era.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to say those two. So along with our favorites, I when sending you the notes, I did your favorite thing. I'm improvising a little bit here.
Love it every time.
It's not improv for me. I have it written right here in front of me, but I wanted
good
to
for you.
I'm not going to ask you these questions, but I'm going to give you a little Broadway trivia.
Okay.
For instance, I might ask you, actually, this first one, see if you know, the longest running Broadway show.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Ding, ding, ding!
Yeah.
We have a winner. Over 12,000 performances
Mm-hmm.
of Phantom of the Opera, and it's still going today. I saw it on Broadway.
I did too.
When I was a senior. Phenomenal show.
Yeah.
When they're in the graveyard and she's singing Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again, before the Phantom comes in, that fire, right, you can feel it no matter where you're sitting in the theater.
And, when there's scenes where the Phantom isn't on the stage, but you can hear his voice, it sounds like he's, like, all around
Behind
It's
you,
like,
beside
where
you,
is
above
he?
you, below you. You don't know where he is, but it gives that effect.
And that, was it like the opening scene when that chandelier's coming down? And that's amazing.
And even if you don't, if you're not a theater nerd, you know the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
You know the Mask.
It's pretty cool.
You know the show. Shortest running Broadway show. And you can't guess this.
Probably not, because there's been so many. I know one that was very short-lived that I didn't get to see that I wanted to. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Oh, it still has more than this one.
Too many people got hurt.
Yeah.
All right, tell me.
It is a tie between 3 shows.
Okay.
1 performance.
Oh, no.
And then they were shut down. First one, Asleep Whistle. Father's Day and I Won't Dance. All only had 1 performance. Fun fact, though, they were all written by the same guy.
Oh, no.
Oliver Haley.
Poor
the
guy.
most successful, unsuccessful Broadway playwright to ever exist.
Poor fella.
No. When I was doing the research, I was like, what a legacy to have.
Hey, somebody's got to have it.
Somebody's got to be at the bottom. He actually had 2 others that did have 5 performances, but his 3 tied for 1 performance.
5 ain't much better than 1.
I know. Highest grossing Broadway show of all time.
Ooh, Wicked?
No, but you have done this show.
Have I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
I will give you a hint. The night that I saw it, the lights went out.
The Lion King.
The Lion King is the highest grossing Broadway show at $1,463,250,200,000,200. Sorry, let me start that again. It is $1,463,250,223,200
Good
in its
grief.
run.
Disney strikes again.
Yes, and it's not your average show. It's puppetry, and it's beautiful dancing, and it's more of like a metaphorical show.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it, for sure.
A lot of it is, and it's Shakespeare originally. Yeah. It's Hamlet. And I was shocked and not shocked at the same time. Like, I honestly thought that Wicked would be the top.
Yeah.
It's number 3. I can't remember what number 2 was. Wow. Highest paid Broadway actor or actress of all time.
Probably an old school person, not a modern day.
She's both.
Is it Kristen Chenoweth?
Nope.
Idina Menzel?
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
Bette Midler.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
For those of you who don't know her by name, it's Winifred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm.
As of 2017, Hello Dolly's Bette Midler is the highest paid Broadway performer of all time, ranking in $150,000 a week and 10% of the box office a week.
It's a pretty good setup.
However, in her run as Hello Dolly in the 2017 revival, it broke $1 million in her year's contract. For breaking $1 million, she got a bonus, 15% of the box office, added to her already $150,000 a week.
Some people have just got it all.
I know. Which brings me to my fact number 5, the last one, the Broadway base pay. As of this year, the base pay for a Broadway performer is, you want to take a guess?
No.
$2,034 a week.
Okay, sounds pretty good, but when you factor in
living in New York City,
in New York,
my brother's living there now, and for a room smaller than your Fortress of Nerditude right now, he's paying maybe $1,200 to $1,300 a month for a room.
And base pay though, that's like for entry level, like ensemble.
Yeah, that's ensemble.
Yeah, so if you're already a star, you're obviously making a lot more than that.
Yes, but that's like third lamppost from the left payment.
Got to start somewhere, though.
Absolutely, you do. And those are 5 random facts, Broadway trivia. And I know I shocked you with it. I surprised you with it. I know you love improv.
That wasn't so bad.
But I still took it easy because we're getting back in the flow.
Yeah.
It's our first episode back doing it normally, so I took it easy on you.
Yeah.
So I thought we would spend these last little bit, telling some personal stories, maybe doing some Q&A, because we did have some questions. But some of our favorite personal stories. And I will start.
Sure.
Before meeting Josh Davis, before meeting this co-host of mine, we met in freshman year of college at Walter State.
2007?
Yes. We were in film and choir together.
Yes.
I pride myself. Proud.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're an English
I think
teacher.
it would be prided.
Prided.
Yeah.
English
used
language.
to pride.
I used to pride myself before meeting Josh that I had never broken character before on stage. And up until then, I had done quite a few shows. School shows, community theater, stuff like that. However, we did the show High School Musical 2, where I played Chad, and he played Mr. Fulton, the boss of the country club. And is this the last show?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah.
There's a scene where we are finding out from Mr. Fulton that we're not allowed to participate in the talent show. We have to work instead. But he is, having his strings pulled by Sharpay, the villainess character. And the last show, it's him standing in between me and my cousin Kyle Stanifer, who played Scott, which is not in the movie, it's only in the stage play.
And who did our intro music.
Yes, our intro music, Kyle Stanifer. Yes. He was on the other side of Mr. Davis here. And so he throws in this stupid little line along with... You finish it.
I don't remember the line at all.
The line is, it's not always singing and dancing, And so when he's delivering the line, he does the... From High School Musical 1, we're all in this together dance.
Yeah. I knew like 2 little moves from it, and so I decided it's not all singing, and I threw in a little jig, and it was a hit.
It caused me and Kyle to just look at each other and just stifle a giggle.
Yeah, there were a few people that were.
A few people were not expecting it.
I was proud of that one.
I had never broken character before in my life. Ugh.
Yeah.
That was to say that a brotherhood was created that year and the years before. Brotherhood like none other exists. All off-breaking character. And
you're welcome.
a silly Disney musical.
I'm glad it was me.
I'm too, because I might have punched if it was somebody else. I was forgiving.
Yeah.
And it's crazy though, like ever since breaking that one time in 2009, that one show, now it's easy to break character. Yeah. Now it's like the dam has been released and, the seal has been broken. And I break characters so easily now. So that's one funny story. Me and you both have done Wizard of Oz multiple times.
Yes, twice.
You've done it twice. I've done it 3 times.
That's right.
It was my first show I'd ever did. I was in preschool and I played a lollipop kid.
Look at you. Would you stop?
I know. It was adorable.
It was Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And
every Thanksgiving it plays.
I had just directed Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for a local theater group.
I played Mr. Salt.
You did. It was, it was really something. I was like 20 years old, so I did the best I could with what I had.
A lot of kids.
Yeah. But they were, pretty pleased with what I did. And they said, you know what? If you want to do something else, you just tell us what you want to do and we'll do it. And like, to a 20-year-old theater nerd being told, hey, you want to just pick a show? Let's do it. That's pretty high praise. So I said, you know what? I know exactly what I want to do. Let's do The Wizard of Oz. And we did it, and the entire production team was, everyone was under the age of 25, I think, at the time. Mm-hmm. Me, the stage manager, the choreographer, and the music director, all of us, and we did it. We did the dang thing, It was very successful, and, not the best thing I've ever been a part of quality-wise, but again, 21 years old, I did
probably the best
I
that
could.
They had seen in a while at that organization and in the area in a while.
Yeah, I think so. It's something I'm very, very proud of, though. Just nonetheless.
You not only directed it, but you played the Tin Man.
I did,
and I was the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. But I remember there's plenty of memories from it that we could spend a whole episode on. But I remember one particular memory. It was like the night before we opened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I bet I was a nervous wreck.
And we were at Walter State till 3 a.m. Basically, you were just like, what else is there to do? What else is there to do? We were sitting down, and basically I had to look at you and go, there's nothing else you can do. You've done your part.
Mm-hmm.
We've been here for hours now. We open tomorrow. Go to bed. Yeah. We've got sleep to get.
I was so stressed out, dude. Yeah. I went home. I think it was that same night. I went and took a shower, and like hair was falling out of my head because I was just so.
At 20 years old.
20 years old. Well, I stress out very easily as it is. But there was a lot of pressure on me, and there were a lot of things that weren't right yet, and things that I wasn't happy with, but. We pulled it off, and we had a lot of fun, like you said. So,
we had to add a show? I believe I believe we had to add an extra show.
There were endless
weekend
problems.
Or third weekend. Yes,
a director's work is never truly done.
Oh yes,
as you know,
truly never done. But it was fun. And the second time you've done it, the third time I've did it, we did it in 2017. Yeah. November of 17.
Yes, I think so.
Yes. This time, however, we auditioned going into it thinking we got to be the same parts because it's written in the stars.
Yeah.
And the director of that show, Micah Shane, called us back. And what was weird is I believe we both, in the callback, read for the part we were in 2010 and the part we ended up being in this production. I was called back for Scarecrow and Lion. Read for both of them. I was like, oh, okay, cool, Scarecrow. I think that's a formality, And you were called back for Lion and Tin Man.
Yeah.
Well, the day came where they called, and Mary calls and says, Tyler, we would like to happily offer you the part of the Scarecrow. And there was a silence, and I was like, are you sure?
That's exactly what I did, too.
Are you
I was
reading it right, Mary?
What? Huh?
I was like, the Scarecrow, but I'm clearly the Lion.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been there. We've done that. We know this. Okay? Yeah. And I said, yes. Yes, I will.
Mean, what are you going to do?
Not?
Say no?
Say no to that? Another part of the 4? And something different? And I said, if you don't mind me asking, what is Josh? Oh, he's going to be the Cowardly Lion. Really? So we've not just changed. We've both changed astronomically.
Yeah. From
different sides of the spectrum. Character-wise, vocal-wise, I mean, well, you got it easier. I mean, the Tin Man was higher than the Lion. At least you got to go a little lower. Mm-hmm. But I had to go up to 10 or 2.
Yeah.
And that was...
Common theme here. I was a nervous wreck. I was like, man, what if I'm not funny enough? What if I can't do this or whatever? And I just, I was full of doubt. But it all worked out. And I had a lot of fun.
Well, and it's always like your old adage that you've always said in theater, make it work.
Just make it work.
You made it work.
I did.
And it was good and it was funny.
Yeah.
You did things that I never thought of doing that were funny.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that in theater it does not matter, when you do a show, how many times you do a show. If someone's doing it a different part than you, they're going to do it different than you. So moving on, what is a time that what can you walk away from this world of theater that you've grown in and say that has been your favorite experience? That you've just been like, you know what, the whole experience. Mine's pretty recent, but
oh yeah. Gosh, man, I don't know. The most, I'm going to say the time that I directed it. That I directed was Revaz, because being so young, I felt like I had a lot to prove, and I had a lot of people looking to me as a leader. We had a lot of people in the cast who were, adults, and it's
kids.
like, and we had a lot of kids. But
well, I mean, that was the first time that I saw you flip from the guy that I goof off with and go to Akita Express with, and just you turned into a leader that show.
Yeah.
And I realized real quick that I could put my trust in you in more than just on stage, but as a leader and as a director. Yeah. So I would definitely agree with that for
Thanks,
you.
Man.
Mine is definitely more recent. It was this past winter we did the show American Idiot. And originally going into it, I auditioned for it and I got casted, and I was like, it's the Green Day musical. It's Green Day. It's punk. I had no idea that it would be an experience that changed my life. Mm-hmm. We had to, the ensemble that you were, if you weren't a named character, your ensemble was Tyler. Like, I played Tyler, and I had to create like a nega Tyler, like an alternate universe Tyler. And I had to pull from hate and sadness and loathing, and I had to pull from all these parts that I had thought that I had forgotten in life. Because I don't go into it, but the 4 or 5 years leading up to the starting of this podcast, I have had a lot of crap.
Yeah, you did.
Happen. But I'm also normally everything happens for a reason guy, and still keep my cheery cherub-like demeanor. However, the director, Mike Howard, who is graciously a reason that we have Encore as a sponsor, he brought up in our meetings, things that, I had somewhat subconsciously forgot about. And it was an eye-opening, and not just for me, for the whole cast. He did it with all of us. Like, well, I know this happened in your life. How'd that make you feel? And I was like, mad. Okay. So, show it. And I'm telling you, it was the most breathtaking experience of my life. And I will forever cherish it, and I think it helped me get rid of a lot of demons that I was carrying with that I had no idea that I was carrying. You know, because you bury it, I think, and it was just amazing.
It was a good show, and like, you know, I like Green Day. Okay,
Yeah. Well, and their official page like shouted us out
that's
and
right. I
said,
forgot about
"Hey,
that.
Morristown's doing our show."
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, and we were like, "Yes."
Oh yeah, I forgot
And,
about that.
I mean, it was, you know, big
It's
crowds
huge.
every night, and energy was crazy. And if you have not listened to the album or seen the show, if you like Green Day, you're gonna love it. I mean, the story is an everyday. It's happening still.
But even if you don't like, even if you're not a big Green Day fan, like I was going to say, I'm not a huge Green Day fan. I like them okay, but you know, and I didn't really go into it, you know, expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. You know, I was just there to support my friends. But man, when the music started, I was like in my seat. I was moving. I was headbanging. I was all into it.
Sophomores, juniors in high school when American Idiot, the album, came out.
Yeah, I think we were juniors.
We remember, you know, that was a.
I had that album.
It was a life-changing album. That was we're mad and something needs to be done. There are bad things going on in this country, in our lives. Somewhere something changed, and we need to change it back. You know, so it was just an amazing experience. But, you know, we could go on about that for hours. We could go on about personal stories for hours.
Oh, we have 100 of them.
But, you know, maybe we'll do a Theatre Nuds 2. Perhaps. So I wanted to get to some of these questions real quick.
Sure.
You know, we have some pretty devoted fans that send in questions every single episode, and I love it. Keep it coming, nerds. Stephanie asks, what play/musical is on your bucket list?
You know, I've been very fortunate to have been given the opportunity to do a lot of the ones that I felt that way about. I wanted to be the Tin Man. I did it. I wanted to be Sweeney Todd over everything. I got to do it. I wanted to play Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, and I did that.
Did you?
I talk about it a lot, I guess. I love Gaston. So I think the only thing really... I would really like to do Rocky Horror one day, and you're fortunate enough that you get to do that. As a teacher, I don't think it's a good idea for me to take part in that show. I'd like to play Brad one day. I would really like to play the dentist in The Little Shop of Horrors. That's a big one.
Well, you know, a funny story. If you're not doing a show in November, auditions for Little Shop of Horror and Pigeon Forge are happening soon.
Oh, yeah. Well... I'm sort of, it's nice to dream of doing these things, but for the time being, I am happily retired from the stage. Yeah, he's giving a little look, but there are very few things that I think would bring me out of retirement. I'm just too happy being a dad. So
that's good, man.
If we ever had the opportunity in a few years when we're a little older to play Leo and Max from the producers, you and I together would, oh man,
we'd kill it.
It would be killed. It would be
show
dead.
Stopping.
It would be dead.
It would dead. DED. What was it like switching from performing to directing?
You go first.
I would be the first to say that I like performing a lot more.
I don't.
It was a lot. It was way more stressful as a director, which you would agree with.
I think in a different way.
Yes.
I am my own worst critic, so. I would second guess a lot of things that I would do on stage. Oh, is it funny enough? Is it reading the right way? Do I look stupid? Do I sound bad? You know, whatever. So that pressure and that type of stress was very bad for me. But like being productive and trying to put the show together, that type of stress, I enjoy that. And I do thrive on that most of the time. And I do like to, you know, be a leader. And especially if a lot of the shows I've directed have been... I've had a lot of kids in the cast. I've especially enjoyed working with kids and kind of bringing them up in theater and trying to coach them in theater and stuff. So I would prefer it.
Yeah. All right. I would say it's more stressful. Not that I hate it. You know, I've gotten 4 or 5 shows under my belt directing wise. It's cool. It's a different side. It teaches you as a person a different skill. But I would definitely say I enjoy performing better. And actually, Stephanie has a story. We did share the stage together, Stephanie and I. Her favorite story about the theater is 10 years after we both shared the stage in High School Musical 1, Tyler directed High School Musical again for the Morristown Theater Guild. And my favorite story is that he added my personal touch from when I performed to a certain HSM character. And I had to. Like, the way she did it when we were fresh out of high school, and I was playing Chad, and she was an ensemble member in the audition scene, I knew that that was one memory that stood out from my time performing it. And I knew that when I directed it this time, I was like, I want to create that character. I want to recreate what Stephanie did in the audition scene. So I basically looked at the person playing that part, and I said, this is what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I emulated Stephanie, and she did it. And Stephanie saw the show, and I was like, it's because that's how you performed it. And that's stood out to me 10 years later, was the way you stole the 5 seconds you got, or the 10 seconds you got in that scene.
Yeah.
You stole it for that specific time, and that's an opportunity for this person to steal it for that time. And I'm normally more a fan of organic, but I knew at that point, I was like, I want her to do what Stephanie did, because it stands out in my memories. So, yeah. Thanks for the question, Stephanie, and the story. Blake asks, what is your favorite play that you have ever been in? They also have a musical one, so play.
I'm going to say it's a tie. I did a play in high school called Almost Treasure Island. Remember my friend TK that spoiled Dumbledore for me? He and I
Yes.
were the two main guys in that. We were very funny. I'll have to say it was a hit. And you got to realize I come from this place where everybody's a good old boy and nobody cares or appreciates. Most people don't care or appreciate anything about theater. And if you do theater, you're strange, you're weird, whatever. And he was a pretty popular guy, and I was okay. And it was a hit. People were, nobody heckled us, and everybody was quiet and attentive, and they enjoyed it. And we got like a standing ovation, which at my high school, full of
Good old boys,
that was a big deal. So that one, and then also I got to play John Proctor in The Crucible, which was more dialogue than I ever thought that I would ever have to learn.
Yeah.
But I did it, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm very proud of it. So that one.
Awesome. My favorite play is definitely playing Mike in Wait Until Dark.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the first time ever at that point, and almost pretty much the first time since that I got to play a bad guy. I'm normally the comedic relief.
I'm like always the bad guy. So
I mean, we'd love to switch every now and then.
Yeah.
Directors out there, just because someone's good at one thing doesn't mean they can't do the other. It's just a powerful show. It's suspenseful. The whole last 10 minutes takes place in pitch black, and you're relying on sound and the strike of a match every now and then. If you have not seen the movie, Katharine Hepburn's in the movie, or Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
Audrey Hepburn, yes, is in the movie. Great movie, great show, and it was a chance to be a villain. So it was really cool. A lot of lines, though, when you're one of the main villains. It's a lot of lines. What was your favorite musical you've ever been in? And I just, pretty much answered it, American Idiot.
Probably Sweeney Todd, because I never thought I'd get to do it, and that was a dream come true. I gave up going to WrestleMania 30
You did?
to play Sweeney Todd. I was going to go with my cousin, and I gave it up for Sweeney Todd. And maybe Les Mis.
Oh, I'm
That
jealous
was-
of that, too. You got to do Les Mis,
Yeah.
too.
I didn't have like a huge role in it, but man, it was great. Powerful show. Sold out pretty much every time, every performance.
Oh, yeah.
Big show. Probably the best show that I've been a part of.
I would agree.
I would venture to say.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Not just cast-wise, but just
Everything
overall.
about it was
Yeah.
great.
Logan asks, Do you think they will ever remake Repo Man: The Genetic Opera? Now this is Logan Roach. This is our best friend Logan that we give heck to. Repo Man, if you have not seen it, it is Terrence Zudnik, who also plays the grave robber in it. He actually wrote a trilogy. There's Repo Man: The Genetic Opera. Our friend Alex Cooper has the other two. That
I didn't even know they had other ones.
It's like a trilogy. They're all three big rock opera dark musicals.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to check those out. But funny story about Logan. He wanted to help us in that first little run through of Wizard of Oz. He was going to do flights. He was going to do like flight because you got to fly. The monkeys flew. Dorothy flew. The witch. And he was going to run flights for us. And
he bailed.
What
a jerk.
And we hold that against him to this day. And I guarantee you we're going to get a group text saying, "Dadgummit, guys, drop it, man.
You have to bring that up all the time.
You got to bring it up all the time. Leave it alone."
You owe me a pizza for that.
You do. So, moving on. Shannon asks, this is for the both of you, favorite role ever played? And you've pretty much... Sweeney Todd for you, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Playing Farquaad in Shrek was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I had to do the whole show on my knees, and it was like... I got a lot of, like, pats on the back for that role and everything, but...
It was kind of outside your wheelhouse. It might have been a villain, but it wasn't a solid, like, Tybalt.
Yeah. It was physically really demanding and challenging, because, like I said, I did it all on my knees, so it was tough. But I was going to say, like, I got all these pats on the back and compliments for it, and I really appreciate it and everything, but it wasn't me. It's the role. The role is just so good and well written, and he's got all the jokes, and just seeing a dude coming out, you know, a little short dude with all this intimidating music, and he's got guards and everything, and you see this little short guy and everything, and the little legs I had looked ridiculous.
It was funny, though.
Anybody could have, you know, gotten laughs and stuff, but it was fun. It was a whole lot of fun.
I would have to say favorite role ever played is probably The Lion. Like, yeah. I just think
that's special.
It's something special to me.
And that whole show, like the whole cast and everything, we got very, very close because it was such a community effort. You know, I was the leader and everything, but it just took everybody to pull together.
It truly, you know,
any shows like that, but this one especially
reinstitutes the belief that it takes a village to make these things happen.
And we had reunions for that show, you know, for 3 or 4 years or so. We called it Woostock. And it was great. Special time.
Your dream role now. Do you have one now?
I don't know that I do.
What, Curly?
Oh, in Oklahoma? No, I'll never do that because I can't dance. You know, I don't think I have the voice to play the Phantom, so I can't do that. You know, there's just really not many things left. I think you and I doing the producers is really that's up there. That one I would find a way to make it work if we were ever so fortunate to get the opportunity. But beyond that, man, there's just not much that really sparks my interest in as far as coming back.
Obviously, you know, every theater nerd would love to play the Phantom, but you know, statistically having the voice to play him,
oh goodness,
is ridiculous. So I would have to say my dream role now is probably Javert in Les Mis. Would love to play Javert.
That would be fun.
I know that I'd be cast as Thénardier, but man, Javert would be fun.
Yeah.
Stars is one of my favorite Broadway songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes playing him interesting and difficult is he's not a bad guy. He's not a villain. He's doing the right thing. He's doing what he thinks is right. And it's not this doesn't go to like the comic book definition of a villain as the hero of their own story. I mean, he's a cop doing the right thing. So, I mean, he's not a villain. He's not, you know,
but
dark side.
All villains, or most villains, think that what they're doing is the right thing.
Yeah.
Thanos he justified what he did.
Yeah, that's very true. And I just think that'd be interesting, and it would definitely be against what I normally do.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Shannon. Alex asks, this is for both of you. What is the biggest challenge you have had to overcome through theater?
Like challenge of doing a show or challenging?
I think just challenge. You can take it however you want.
Oh boy. You want to go first? Because I don't know. I'm going to have to think on that.
I'm about to take it real. Divorce.
Yeah. That's right.
During Rock of Ages, I was going through a divorce. The divorce I didn't want. Kind of, pulls the rug out from you in life. But, I'm not going to get too sappy, but somebody was there to pick me up, and he's sitting across from me.
Yeah.
Not just emotionally, but physically. But in all honesty, not just without my support system, but without theater, I truly can say, I don't want to get too dark with this, but without theater, I would not have survived. I would not have had a full place to escape, basically. So, that was probably the biggest challenge that I've ever had to overcome through theater is divorce.
Well, I definitely can't top that at all. But I've sort of mentioned several times here about, my nerves. I have, wicked bad nerves before shows and leading up to a show. I just never feel like I'm quite where I should be. I did a show several years ago. It was an original show by an old teacher of ours. I shouldn't say old, I should say former teacher, Jerry. Mr. Malloy, he wrote an original stage version of an old Disney movie called Summer Magic. And he has a lot of connections, out in California to Disney.
I remember this.
And we were the first version of this show ever done. Disney totally, they didn't back it or support it or whatever.
They embraced it.
They were like, yeah, you guys go.
Hey, cool.
And they were willing to kind of put their name on it. There's something about our production that's in the archives at Disney, which is great. But
did Sherman come?
We had all these big guests from Disney. These, like Mary Costa, who was the voice of Sleeping Beauty, came, and she lives in Knoxville, so she comes to things.
Well, we
here.
met her in Camelot.
Yeah. She came. She's a lovely, lovely woman.
Yes, she is.
But we had Richard Sherman of the Sherman Brothers, who wrote all the classic, old school Disney songs. He came. I got to meet him. But all these Disney people were there, and we know I love Disney. And oh my goodness, they were in the audience 2 nights in a row, and my knees were just like shaking. I was so scared. I thought, there's no way I'm going to get through this. I'm going to pass out before I go up there. Something like that. There was a spot in a song that I had that I was struggling with. I never could nail it until we had an audience, but I did it.
That's how it works.
And I think
my favorite song
in
that was the Ugly Bug Ball.
Oh yeah,
I love that song.
Yeah.
That was a really big. That was something that I was, excited to get to see in the audience. Sadly, I was not there when the Disney people were there. But
and Kathy Garver from that show Family Affair, she was in the cast. Yeah. She came to be in the show. That was fun to work with her. That was
really cool.
Nice lady.
And that just goes to show, we've talked about before, through theater, we've met Harrison Ford and so many other people like Kathy Garver and Mary Costa. I mean, it opens doors, and you never realize. Last question. Alder asks, this is for both of you. What is the best Broadway song written, in your opinion? Written. I'd have to say it's a tie between two.
I bet one of them Seasons of Love.
No.
Oh.
That would be number 3. Probably, I really love Wait For It from Hamilton, and I'm kind of a stickler.
Best song ever written, though?
Well, no, it's not my number 1. It's up there.
Okay.
Probably No More from Into the Woods.
Oh.
I love that one, too. Favorite Broadway song of all time. No more questions.
Yeah.
Please.
That's one. I'd like to play the Baker one day.
Oh, the Baker would be fun.
Yeah.
The Baker would be fun.
I got to be a prince, but here in a few years when I'm a little older.
See, I'd love to play the Mysterious Man.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Man, that's a good one.
That's a great Broadway song.
That's
one place the movie failed miserably was taking it out.
They sure did. I'm super biased on this, but this is just my all-time favorite, and it's why I love the role so much. The song "My Friends" from Sweeney Todd.
Oh, it's such a good one,
that
too.
song, and being able to do that was...
Oh, I could imagine.
Oh, it was great.
And you were fantastic.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
I appreciate that.
Seeing that. Like, I think that we've always had this, like, if I can't do it, I want you to do it.
Yeah.
You know? If I can't be the part, I'd like Josh to be the part. Sure. You know? So, and that's all we got for this episode. Like, again, there's so much that we could talk about in this theater episode.
Man.
To where we probably will do another one.
I bet we'll have to.
We'll have to do a few more.
There are so many great things that I would love to share with the people out there. Great memories, and it meant a lot to me over the years where I, like you've gone pretty nonstop for the past 4 or 5 years being a part of theater.
Yes. I feel like I've had to. Yeah. It's kind of like, it's just kept my, kind of like you used to tell me all the time, when you were the busy one, you'd be like, I have to. I have to keep going. I have to keep working, or I'll, idle minds.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to, like, I even, made a stapled testament.
A firm commitment.
A firm commitment to, I'm taking the winter off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking it off.
Burn out.
I'm not doing anything.
I got burned out.
So, yeah. It's
that period of, 8-9 years or so, I just went hard nonstop. Like, I want to do as many shows as I can. I want to play as many roles as I can. I want to do it, say I've done it. I want to improve and learn and get better. And I did. And you have too. And, but, now that life has changed and everything, I'm happy to sit in the audience, you know, and watch and support from there.
Absolutely.
But maybe one day I'll come back.
But we, I have, like I said, we're doing 2 shows right now at the same time. One will be at CreepyCon in Knoxville this weekend. It's History of the Devil, written by Clive Barker. And the next one I'm going to be in is I'm playing Eddie in Rocky Horror, which is exciting.
Can't wait.
So that's our, let's just leave it with this. That's our first act.
Very nice.
Theater Nerds.
Very nice.
We will continue at a later date to talk about more theater stuff. Now, whether this is a regular 2-act show or a Jerry Malloy 4-act show,
Love you,
we will see. So thank you all for the questions. Thank you for tuning in. We talked earlier about a new sponsor we have for the rest of the season, MarbleCity ComiCon. We're going to leave you and end with a special sit-down that I got to do with Shannon Rhea, who's in charge of MarbleCity ComiCon. And after that, you'll hear the closing credits. And we really hope that we see you at MarbleCity ComiCon. It's in Sevierville this year. It's going to be so exciting. There are massive names coming this year. This is going to be the biggest Marble City that they've ever had. So stay tuned, and we will catch you next time, I guess.
We will see you then.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
What's up, guys? I'm here with Shannon Rhea. And Shannon, what is it you do with MarbleCity ComiCon?
I'm the promoter and booker of the event.
Okay.
We put the event together every year, and this year we have moved the event from Knoxville to the Sevierville Convention Center, which looks to be the future home of the event for quite a while.
Good. What all in a daily, the daily life of Shannon, like what does your day include when it comes to just MarbleCity ComiCon?
Wow. Text messages, emails, every social media platform possible. And you just never know. You really don't. Marble City really can encompass just about any form of pop culture possible, and really it can surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been doing stuff like this most of my life now. At this point, I've been doing it for over half my life, and I can still be surprised with it. That's the surprising part, is I can still be surprised with
Even after all this time.
Yeah. There are some great aspects about it. I still can find fun in it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be amazingly stressful sometimes, but
gosh, I can imagine.
It's an industry I really do love.
Mm-hmm.
From all aspects of pop culture, movies, TV shows, animation, art, comics, wrestling. Yeah.
You're a big wrestling fan.
I am a big wrestling fan.
Good. So are we.
Yeah.
What? I don't want you to give too much of the lineup away because I want some people to be surprised still. But what are a couple of names that you want to, give us more anticipation with? What are some names that are going to, just one name that'll be there that'll maybe tantalize people to come more?
Well, the new announcement we're going to make this week. He's our next wrestling announcement.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't hit the website yet, but it's a very cool one. He's a definite heel
Mm-hmm.
that I grew up watching
Mm-hmm.
and rooted against most of the time. Was Nikita Koloff,
Oh, man.
the Russian Nightmare.
Yeah.
You saw him come out and always have the log chain around his neck, and he was something else. You saw him often battle Magnum TA or Dusty Rhodes, and he wrestled right up into the 90s, and he could have probably wrestled a lot later than that. Really,
yeah.
I mean, he was built to be a monster, and he was even billed a lot of times as the Russian Road Warrior. But I was really pleased to get him booked for the show.
Yeah.
And when we talked to him about booking him, we surprised him. We asked to book him for both days, and he said, most people don't book me for both days. And he said, most people just book me for one. He said, you sure you want me for both? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, I'll gladly be there both days. So
That's cool.
we've booked him for both days, and we're also working on some new stuff. We've got some more stuff in the works. There's a whole lot of new wrestling promotions popping up, and there's some big news about this new wrestling promotion's getting a new TV deal.
Yes, there is. We're very excited for that.
Yeah, it's got a lot of big news. They're signing a whole lot of people, and we're hoping to have some representation from them very soon.
Good. Well, that's very tantalizing.
Yeah, we're in some talks with some people about
That's
them,
great.
So.
Speaking of wrestling, I see that the Cowboys coming.
Yep.
James Storm.
Yep. We've got James on the schedule.
We've
We've
James
got
Storm fans.
Wildcat Chris Harris on the schedule.
And Hornswoggle, everyone's favorite leprechaun.
Yeah, we've got Hornswoggle. We may have a scheduling conflict with him. We're trying to get worked out. And we're working on working with AEW.
Mm-hmm. So, the Marble City, what are the dates?
Marble City is November 16th and 17th
Okay.
at the Sevierville Convention Center, right off exit 407.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 6 minutes off of the exit, right behind the Wilderness Water Park.
I've been there a couple of times. My sister played volleyball for
Yeah.
LMU, and she also coached a traveling team. And every year they had their big Sevierville Convention Center tournament.
Yeah.
Huge building.
Yeah.
Great access point for many people, because it's not in the heart of Pigeon Forge to where there's traffic. You're just off the exit, and everyone can find it easily.
Yeah, that was the thing that really got me when we decided to move. I'd looked at a lot of locations and a lot of hotels with convention areas, a lot of convention centers,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to move to a nicer facility. And they had actually contacted me a couple of years ago. And I knew I did not want to move to downtown Pigeon Forge. I did not want to deal with traffic, because I knew that was going to be a turnoff to attendees to have to fight traffic and things.
Well, I lived there for 5 years, and it's the biggest turnoff
Yeah.
to Pigeon Forge.
And so I went over there just to see.
Yeah.
And I'd never been in that building.
Mm-hmm.
And man, when I went in that thing, I was blown away.
Oh, gosh.
I was blown away. The facility is absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It has every modern amenity you can think of.
Yeah.
Free Wi-Fi. We're going to have an even bigger vendor floor than we had before.
Mm-hmm.
We have the full ballroom area. We've got multiple panel rooms for attendees for the panels. Full PA systems in every location. Fully stocked ATMs. We've got our own ticketing facility. We have multiple offices. We have special rigging systems for some of our special events that we're doing, because we're going to have aerialists that are performing in the vendor room, hanging from the ceiling, doing special events. It really works for everything we want to do there. We met with the Chamber of Commerce over there, and they really want to work with us on making it a annual event and working with us on promoting it as part of their tourism package.
Yeah.
To other cities, as they promote to other cities. So that was the thing that really got me, was how open they were to us and what all we could do. So I'm really excited about it. They really wanted to welcome us there.
Yeah.
And I was so happy about that. So I was more taken with that facility than anywhere else that we looked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy about that.
Great. And if someone is wanting to get tickets beforehand, how would you suggest they do that?
The best spot is go to our website at www.MarbleCityComiCon.com. It's COMICON.
Okay. Great. And the dates are November 16th and 17th. And we are definitely excited to get to be there.
Yeah.
Very thankful for you all, and happy that you all are being in partnership and sponsoring the podcast, and very thankful for that. And before you go, I have a gift for you.
Awesome. I like stuff.
Any guest that comes on the show, you get a shirt that's 30 and Nerdy Podcast.
Awesome.
That I hope at some point you'll wear.
Yeah.
And also a koozie for 30 and Nerdy Podcast.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
And we are excited. We hope that maybe next month you'll come back on.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
maybe update us a little bit more. It's been great sitting down with you.
Yeah, it's been great. I love to come on, and I can always talk about stuff we're having. We'll have a really big guest announcement that we'll be able to make next month.
That's great.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Very exciting.
It's really going to be huge, and so we can talk about that one. That's going to be the biggest one we've ever had. So I'll definitely be back for that one, and I really look forward to you guys being there, and you'll get to interview a bunch of the wrestlers that we have in stock.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Before we go, how long has Marble City ComiCon been going?
Well, as Marble City, it's been going for let's see, this will make our 5th year.
Okay, and before that, we were
a one-day show.
Okay. Called
Collector's Showcase.
I remember that,
and we did that for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And we basically got to the point that the hotel couldn't hold us anymore,
which is a good problem to have.
and we had to move. We got so tight at the hotel that you couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And they said you guys are going to have to either limit who comes or move to a different space. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll just move to a different space. Yeah. And so if we're going to move, then we're going to move and make it a bigger event. So this one is probably going to be the biggest one we've ever done because of just everything that has fell into place this year.
Great.
With the new facility and new guests and everything.
Yeah.
And it's been great. We've been able to add some really wonderful staff this year, and that's helped a whole lot. Some people with some great convention experience.
Yeah.
And because it is such a unique thing, because it's hard to find people with actual convention experience. That's
just
not
in this area.
Yeah.
Because it's still not blown up like an Atlanta or a SanCon or even like a Toronto or something like that.
Yeah. And so we found some people with some really good convention experience, and that has helped. And with the ability to do that, and the new facility, and the layout, and the additional space, and everything, it's been wonderful.
That's awesome.
This year's been wonderful. It's going to be our biggest event we've ever had. So this has been new and improved this year. So I'm really excited.
Well, like I said, we were very excited to be a part of it, and happy you got to sit down with us, and can't wait to catch up with you next month.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to have you guys on board.
All right. Well, cheers to you, Shannon.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the 30 and Nerdy Podcast with your hosts, Tyler McDaniel and Josh Davis. Brought to you by Encore Theatrical Company, Akita Express, Creative Theater, and Advertising Expressions. Find us, follow us, and like us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Visit our website, 30andnerdypodcast.com. Got something to tell us? Drop us an email, 30andnerdypod@gmail.com. Until next time, cheers to you, nerds!